And good morning, everybody. Today is the 9th day of the month of Nisan. Today is the 29th day of the month of March. And we are here this morning, page 38 in the book, The Art of Giving. And we are now, we have now completed discussing the first three elements. Those elements refer to the general action of the person. We've spoken about the emotions of the person and the intellect of the person. We spoke last week, which unfortunately wasn't recorded because I didn't press the button, that when a person uses his or her emotions, so the emotions are singular. You can love something and you can't hate something at the same time. You can employ other emotions together. For example, you can give and you can be a disciplined give, so therefore the giving is withheld somewhat. Because when you're disciplined, you're only giving a certain amount. If I had $1,000 and I said, I'm going to give $1,000 to charity, that's really dumb, because then I'm going to have to get the charity from somewhere else. If all I had was $1,000, I gave it away, then I wouldn't have any money of my own. And I'm going to have to need charity now. So giving has to come with a certain discipline. So there's withholding together with the giving. But there's still two separate elements. There's giving, and then take that giving and withhold it. So it's two separate things. There's a giving and a withholding of it. And so on and so forth. Emotions, characteristics are basically singular levels. When it comes to intellect is a double measure. Because the emotions are a tenth, he said, of what the intellect has. The intellect, first of all, it's a double because it goes together. Wisdom and understanding go together. You can't have wisdom without understanding. There's no way to understand the wisdom. And you can't have understanding without wisdom either, because then there's no wisdom to understand anything. So you got to have both of them together. Plus, intellect itself is on a higher level because it's not singular necessarily. It is a dominant force within a person, within a human being. Then you have things that are above intellect as well. Those are the triple digits. And he says there are many levels, and this is where we are going to begin talking now.
Is it 38?
Page 38, in the middle of the page, Ratzon and Chefetz. Ratzon means will, and Chefetz means desire. You have a desire for something, and therefore you will it to happen or to get it. They are really one and the same, except that a desire is for something that you want to get pleasure from. That's the Chefetz level. Then there are the levels of Ratzon, will, and Chefetz, desire. Ratzon which means will, is a desire not driven by ta'am, by reason. Sometimes you have a thing and you can't explain. There's no reason for it. Why don't you? I don't know, but I just don't want. Why do you? I have no idea, but I just want. I can't explain it. It's not driven by ta'am, by ta'anuk reason, or ta'anuk pleasure, as in the declaration, silence, so arose in my thought. Page 45. Footnote 45. Menachot 29. Talmud Menachot 29b states as follows. When Moses was shown the suffering that Rabbi Akiva was to endure at the hands of the Romans, I mentioned this last week, they came with metal forks and they basically tore his flesh and he died that way. And so little by little, slowly they tortured him to death that way. So when Moses saw this, when God showed it to him, he turned to God and asked, is this the Torah study and its reward? Is this how you're rewarding the greatest sages? That they're going to die in such a barbaric way? To which God replied, silence. So arose in my thought. In other words, you're not going to understand how I do things.
Mm.
And I'm sorry, but that's what I want. That's how I'm going to do it, and I'm not explaining it to you, and therefore there's no reason.
Okay.
There is a reason, but there's no reason that you're gonna be able to receive from me.
Well, what about trying?
Yeah, he did. He tried.
Tried to explain it.
No, God doesn't try. God succeeds.
So he did explain.
No, he said, I don't explain this.
He's withholding.
In the Machzor of Yom Kippur, in the services, there is a section there, and I mentioned this as we go through the end of the morning services, which ends at about sometime deep in the afternoon. And there is a description of the 10 martyrs. The 10 martyrs are sages from the Talmud, including Rabbi Akiva, who were murdered by the Romans, each one in a different, more cruel way. And the angels, when they saw what was going on, this prayer towards the end of the thing, the angels screamed to God, is this Torah? Is this its reward? The 10 of the greatest sages, and look what you're doing to them. Like, what a terrible thing. And God said, silence. If you say one more word, I'm going to finish the whole world off. Because part of believing in God, a belief is not, you say seeing is believing, you say. There's a saying in English, seeing is believing. Hasidic teachings explain that seeing is not believing. Because when you see something, you don't have to believe it. You know it. Belief is beyond, above, it transcends intellect. To believe something, you have to say, okay, I don't understand it, but I just believe it, because it's beyond intellect. And therefore, part of our faith in God is not about the things that we know. If you know it, then you don't have to believe it. And if you don't know it, then you should study it and get to know it. Believing in God is on the things that we don't understand. And then I was saying this last week with those 7 children, I wrote about it in the Good Shabbos. The 7 members of the same family. Could you imagine a mother and a father losing 7 kids all in one fell swoop? You can't imagine it, so it doesn't even sort of bother you. It's like all 7 in one night. I didn't put the pictures of the funeral in the when I sent out the thing, because it's 7 holes in the ground, 7 coffins.
Is the mother and daughter still in the hospital?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is going to take a
They'll be
long.
there for a little while.
Oh, it's
They'll be there for probably even a year. It's, burns are bad. Burns take a long time.
And this is such a beautiful family. You turn to God and you say, is this what you get for keeping Shabbos? It was a hot plate for food for Shabbos. Is this what happens?
Children will get you every time.
Yeah. Cholent will burn something. And to which God doesn't say one word to you, but if you had an opportunity to have a conversation with God, he would say, silence. This is what I want to happen. And I'm not going to explain it. Now, it sounds very cruel. Very cruel why God wouldn't want to explain this. But let me tell you something. If God were to explain such things to us, what would happen? What would
believe in him?
No, just the opposite. We would say,
Oh,
okay, now it makes sense. All right, 7 kids, who cares? That's exactly what would happen. And that's immoral. How could God explain this is what I'm doing to Rabbi Akiva? Because then Moses would say, oh, okay, that's all right, do a few more. The whole thing, the understanding of justice would explain why something like this had to happen. And if that's the case, and it would make sense, because it does somewhere make sense. And if that happens, then it stops bothering us. And that's subhuman. That's not possible. A human being cannot accept other people's suffering. So once it's explained away, we say, oh, it's okay, it's worth suffering for, whatever. You can't do that.
Well, maybe
Not until Mashiach comes. If you want Haftorah of 2 weeks from yesterday is the last day of Passover. It's the day of Yizkor. And that Haftarah, whoa, that's it, a whopper. It's Isaiah 11. And in it is the what's going to happen when the Mashiach will come. And one of the predictions is, on that day you will say, thank you, God, for being so nasty to us. In other words, and that day we will get an explanation of all the Holocaust and the personal traumas and pain and suffering. Rabbi Akiva, all of this will be explained because we will have a total different respect. The whole world will be filled with the knowledge of God like water covers the sea. That complete awash with godliness, and then we will all be elevated to a level where we can understand these things. And the main reason is because it will never happen again. In that same prediction, it says all of this suffering will go away. It will remove all of this. But until that point, a human being cannot possibly morally hear an explanation to suffering, because then the person says, oh, okay. Let's say I found you a reason, and God came to me and gave me the reason that the Holocaust happened. 6 million people murdered, dehumanized. And then you should just say, oh, okay, the children. How do you do this? So, no explanation. It's quiet, silence. You can't get there. I'm not sharing it with you. This is my world, and I'm going to run it this way. And yes, it does shake faith. Look at the man, though, who lost seven of his 8 children in one night. And he stood up at the funeral. You could listen to it, you could watch it. And he said, look, God gave and God takes away. Don't forget about God. I want you to go pray. Pray for my wife. Pray to God for my daughter. And they should get better. He was only thinking about God. And he went on and on about God. And 2 days after he lost 7 of his children, man was bawling. At the same time, he said, listen, this is what I had. That's what tell to me. What should I do now? His faith wasn't based on, life going good. That's Job. A man who suffered like that, and he continued to debate and to be angry with God, but he just stayed with God. Yes.
My teacher, he told us that he wanted that, and we interviewed him, the father, and he said that when Mashiach comes and he knows why it happened, he'll be dancing with joy.
With his children. So that I'm just putting on my do not disturb, please. So good. So when these kind of things happen, we always look for explanation. Just by the way, incidentally, to show you how fallible we are. When a windfall comes, if we won the lottery, $2 million, we won't say, I wonder why God gave this to me. No one ever says that. What's the explanation that, I somehow got through this? We don't even think that way.
Well, I heard someone say, my God, what am I supposed to
Yeah.
do with this?
Right, my God. But they weren't talking to God.
No.
They were talking to my something, but not my God. And they didn't mean, and that's also true. When troubles happen, we wake up, we remember something. When your teeth don't hurt you, you don't realize that you have teeth.
Right.
Only when they start hurting, wait a minute, why is my tooth hurting? That's because it made some noise. The squeaky wheel, what is it? Anyway, so there are times where God simply says there is no intellect that's going to understand this. You're not in that level. You can't understand me. And that's where faith comes in. Faith, this guy, to have faith when everything is going well, that's not real faith. When everything is going fine, that's not faith in God. Because nothing's hurting. The tooth isn't making a noise. So that's not faith. That's saying, oh, things are great. Thank God. Things are great. Thank God. That's not necessarily faith. Faith happens when we don't understand something. When it's beyond our comprehension. We say, well, I can't understand it. Now I have to believe it. And that's, And again, lots of people are shaken because their faith wasn't dealt with previously. Find a lot of people who gave up after the Holocaust and became completely not religious. Most of those people were on their way out before the Holocaust. I heard this from survivors. I heard this from Kent, a good friend who used to live in Atlanta. He says, I grew up Alexander Chosed, Payas and all of that. I said, and this is how you were until the Holocaust? I said, well, by the time the Holocaust came, I was already, I said, after the Holocaust, he was more out, on his way out. And those who were religious, and those who were very committed up until the Holocaust, those people basically came back to the religion. Why? Because their faith was secure before they came into that. It may have had a couple of years here or there, but eventually they came back after 10 years, 20 years, but they eventually returned back to where they were familiar with. It took a while for the trauma to go away.
There's a very good movie on that. A debate called God on Trial.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see
Sorry.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Really?
And it's held
Yeah.
in one of the barracks in one of the camps.
So the things that shake us up are things, not shake us up, sorry, things that make people go away from faith are things that happened in this world, but the faith was not strong to begin with. And so that's the final blow, the final straw. The person was already descending. Those who have faith and those who are faithful, when they go into a situation, they come out of it and they usually remain faithful. It's very complicated. I know it's easiest, I'm just saying things here, but when you take it outside of the book and put it into a person's life, there's so many complications and issues and stuff, and that's why they pay the rabbis the little bucks. Anyway, we'll go back to. So we have a thing in our minds. Let's do this paragraph again. And then there are levels of ratzon, of will, and chefetz, desire. Ratzon is the desire not driven by ta'am or reason, or ta'anug or pleasure. It's a desire that you have because I want. As in the declaration, silence, so arose in my thought. That's what God says, and finish. There's no understanding. That's it. Chefetz, on the other hand, is a desire beyond the level of ratzon. It's even deeper than will. And it is predicated upon ta'am, taste, and ta'anug, pleasure. Thousands, okay, hold on. 46. Footnote 46. Although the Hebrew ta'am was translated with regard to ratzon as reason, that means ta'am means reason, it can also mean taste. It has a good ta'am. In Yiddish, you also use that word ta'am. It's a good taste. With regards to chefetz, the ultimate desire beyond the logically implicit level of ratzon, which results from the enjoyment one experiences from something that is pleasurable, psychologically tastes good. The latter translation is accurate. In other words, what he's saying over here is like this. When you say will, and it's not just being semantic, when you say will is a power. Where there's a will, there's a way. You can move mountains with your will, is the line. What does that mean? It's a force. I don't care what's going on. You're not getting in my way, because I will. And my will is going to take over. But when you say I have a desire means I want to enjoy something. It's a will, but it's not a power. You can't enjoy something with a power, because a power automatically pushes aggression and thoughts of others, and pleasure means that you don't have to think of anything. You just have to sit back and enjoy it and relax. And whatever makes someone enjoy something, not necessarily is the other person going to enjoy it. So there are some kids in my family, for example, that enjoy eating. I mean, not just enjoy, they tongue. Some people go, ugh, tongue. The thought of it. Ugh.
I do too.
Does the tongue love you? So, or liver. You either love it or you just simply don't. It's
Or
ugh.
beets.
Now, I was just going to get that. Or beets. You either enjoy it, you live borscht and the beets, the taste, or you simply can't stand it. That's I'm good at everything. I'm not allergic to anything. I've told you I can take poison ivy and rub it all over me, nothing happens. I'm not allergic to anything. But beets beat me. Anyway, so what pleasures what someone gets out of something is not necessarily what the other one gets out of something. This guy can go on a cruise and say, "Oh, sitting on the ocean, I can just sit out there for hours and do what? Well, just relax, read a book." Well, why do you need to be on the ocean for that? Oh, so relaxing, just the blue and the sky and the endlessness and other people say, I feel completely out of control. I'm lost here. I can't walk. I can't get off if I don't want it, and I'm stuck. And other people, that's my kind of thing. And other people say, flying on planes, please, I can't. It's so confined. Every time the door closes, I don't trust the pilot. Maybe you can, And other people like me say, I love flying. For me, flying is relaxing, and for me, I could open up what takes me 4 hours to do down on Earth takes me 1 hour to do in heaven. That's whatever floats your boat, as they say. Everyone has different ways, so we can't have a will. You can't will, or you can't say I will. I have a will to relax. You don't have a will to relax. You have a will to overcome whatever it might be, but you have a desire to enjoy. Yes, because there's no power when it comes to enjoyment. You just have to sort of get rid of everything. And when you can get rid of just everything that's sitting in your head and just sit back and relax and enjoy it, now that's a pleasure. That's what he's saying over here. There's a will, ratzon, and then there's chayfetz. Those two words both mean I want something, but there's a will, and then there is a way. No, then there is a desire. Those two things are the higher levels, the deeper levels within a person, because the will is the power, and when you're on that path, every part of you is on that path. It's not just my leg really wants to go somewhere, but my hands really are not interested. That's we don't say that. And the same thing with desire. I really desire to sit back on that deck and just but my tongue has a problem with that. So what are you talking about? It doesn't work that way. The whole entire personality is involved with the will and with the desire or the pleasure that comes from the desire. All right, I'm sorry, Diane. Go.
That's okay. How about the word intention? Would you say that's a will?
What do you mean by intentionally doing something? That in that sense, intention?
Well, just the word, like, I sit during the day and in the morning I say, okay, what are my intentions for today?
You mean the plans that you make?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that would be will, or would you say that would be desire, or both?
That's your intellect trying to control yourself. Now, you can say, today I want to accomplish, or I will to accomplish this, that, and the other, and I will spend my day trying to do that. But the will is more of a power than that. That might be a desire to get my day done, so I'll feel better at the end of the day. To get my day organized, I have to get this in, and I have to fit that in, I have to fit this in. So that might be more of a desire. But the intention, when you say intent, you're talking intellect here. Okay, let me get myself organized. But for that you need a mind, and for that you need, to compartmentalize whatever it is, but then you say, okay, I have these 5 things that need to be accomplished. I'm going to take the most difficult battle and start with that, and because that may take me all day, or maybe even take me till tomorrow. So let me get working on this. That's pushing. That's going. All right, now But I don't want to call this person, and I don't want. Yeah, that's when you have to fight. That's the will. But I think the intention is more, the organizational issues in your mind and in your actions to get, to write down what you need to do and then tackle the day.
So I would categorize that more in my desires for the day.
Yeah, these are what you want, yeah. And that's because when those 5 things are accomplished, you feel like you've accomplished something. You've done something in the day, and you feel a lot better because they're out of your way.
Okay.
Someone else was trying to bring something up.
Rabbi, a bell went off a moment ago. There's
No,
something-
that's the fire, that's the smoke alarm that needs a battery to be changed.
Our smoke alarms, by the way, are connected to
So am mine.
electricity.
But,
But
oh,
the batteries are just in case.
right, and
But
that's what's,
we bought batteries and they cost a lot of money, those square batteries, and we can't find them. We bought
Those
4
are the-
batteries last week.
oh,
They were put into a bag and probably left in the bottom of the
9
bag.
volt batteries, 9 volt.
Yeah,
there's
9 volt.
Yeah, with the
batteries.
little,
ones?
the
square
square.
Square
ones.
ones,
Oh,
yeah, the 9 volts. You may, is the old battery still in there?
Yeah.
You may wanna take it out, because that's probably what's causing the beeping, as long as electrical.
Oh, we know
right
what's
now-
causing the
Oh,
beeping, but
yeah.
we want to change the batteries. That's the
Oh,
only way
yeah,
it's
well,
going
I
to happen.
know, I'll ask Larry where he got
If it,
ours.
if it bothers the heck out of you, then you're not going to do something about it. Yeah.
Well, it could also mean we should be getting out of here.
No,
No, that
if
doesn't.
that's all it gives
Well,
off as a warning,
It's a, yeah, there's
then
a
you got a
different,
problem.
Like,
there's
you
a
wouldn't-
different
you
warning.
wouldn't wanna, like,
Right,
really-
you know it.
Use it as an alarm. You
No,
just
no.
keep
When it
blasting
goes off,
it.
it's a chirp, it sounds like a chirp.
This is
Yes.
just a chirp, this is fine, that's nothing.
Yeah, that's about
That
it.
just means it burns it.
It just means the battery is gone, you gotta
Okay.
replace it, that's it.
Oh, okay. Because when it squawks, then it's.
Exactly.
Okay, so we are going to discuss this issue now between the will and the desire. Desire leading to pleasure, will leading to just, a bull in a china shop. I'm going to get my way, and I will do it because I will this. Thousands and tens of thousands, respectively, correspond to these levels. Thousands means quadruple digits. We're above the 3 digits now. We're going to the 4 digits, and then desire is the 5 digits. That's the highest level within a person. There's no greater thing within a human being than pleasure, and that really, in the end of the day, that dictates our whole lives. Whatever we do in order to one day experience pleasure. I'm working now so I can retire. I'm working this week, so then this weekend I'm going to work extra hours so I can do something I want to do, I enjoy to do. And so that's what I'm working in a job that I really love. You hear that so often, that it really expresses who I am. What does that mean? That means that even when I'm working, I'm able to help people or whatever, to reach a goal that makes me feel good. That's pleasure. The connection of Ratzon to thousands, that's to the quadruple digits, is alluded to in the verse, he preserves or notzer kindness for 2,000 generations. If you remember the song that we sing on high holidays and on some holidays as well, we don't do this on a Shabbos unless it's Yom Kippur, but we sing Erech HaPayra Chesed Ve'emet Notzer Chesed La'alafim. That's these words, Notzer Chesed La'alafim. That's in the 13 attributes of mercy. And 13 attributes of mercy, in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, I think, attribute is Notzer Chesed La'alafim. Notzer means preserves. Chesed is kindness. La'alafim to 2,000 generations. That means if we're getting kindness today, it's very possible that your 2,000th grandparent, back whenever it was, which I don't think is even possible for the 5,775 years. I don't think we have that many. You see, you give you an average of about
Divides by 20.
Yeah, you give an average of about 25 or so. You don't get to 2,000. So that means we would still be enjoying and reaping the benefits of generations before the time of Abraham. for 2,000 generations. That's why it's impossible to keep up with how things are working in the justice system of God. It's not possible. So Notze Chesed La'alafim, he preserves Notze kindness for 2,000 generations. That's part of the 13 attributes of mercy. That's about as merciful as you can get. That means you'll forever be enjoying kindness thanks to one ancestor back who knows where, and you never know who this person was. Never even heard of this person, but as a result of their efforts, we're going to reap those benefits down somewhere here. So, notzer, that word notzer, is composed of the same letters as tzinor. The word tzinor in Hebrew means a conduit. Huh? Through which flows the supernal ratzon, desire. The word ratzon also has the same letters as notzer and tzinor.
Ratzon means will.
Ratzon means will. Notzer means to preserve. Tzinor means a conduit. And they all have the same Hebrew letters. The exact same Hebrew letters. Just put them in different order and they compose a different word. You don't find that in English, by the way. You know, the word, well, I mean, you can't find it, but let's just pull out a word just. Can you make any other word out of the word just? J-U-S-T? No. But if the word is cat, you can have tack or act. You see, from the same word. When you play those games, those jumble games, and you have to create the 3 letters, 4 letters, 5 letters, I love those games because it really pushes you to think, and it always pushes you to compose words and different things. You have to look at it. You have a certain time, and you're gonna, if you win it, you get the prize or whatever prize. But this is the kind of game that I like to play because it stimulates your intellect, and it also takes your mind off whatever other stuff is going on. Or the jumble in the newspaper, figure it out. It's just, you're making different words out of it, but that's making words out of jumbles. Anyway, so in Hebrew, because it's Hebrew, it's God's language, these words that are comprised of the same letters must have a connection between them. So you have, he preserves kindness, the same word, the same letters create the word will, and the same letters create the word conduit. So preserve, conduit, will are all in the same letters, all using the same letters. Okay, so what would be the connection here?
Comes down through the generations.
It's a conduit for what comes down?
What they've done, the good deeds, the mitzvot they've done, is preserved and comes down in a conduit.
But you haven't addressed the will part of it. So he says, Notzer is composed of the same letters as Tzinor, which means conduit, through which flows the supernal ratzon, or the supernal will, he writes desire here, that transcends Chokhmah, which is higher than wisdom, and it is from there that thousands come forth. Meaning that when God talks about the 2,000, he's coming from the level which we would call thousands. That's 4 digits, meaning that this is higher than intellect, above intellect, from a level that is beyond our understanding. And that's where we want to tap into. We want to tap into a level not that belongs to the world, but that's higher than the world that we can somehow drag. That which belongs to the world is in the world, comes to the world. What we accomplish through prayer and through blessing and through deeds that we do is to bring it, the higher level down to this world. That's already a whole different story. And so when the 13 attributes of mercy, God is saying, I preserve, in other words, I have a desire up here that I can, a will up here that I can bring down to you through that conduit of preserving, this all the same word. Page 40. Tens of thousands corresponds to the level of supernal chayfetz, from which ratzon receives merely a tenth. So we have this will at such a great level, it's only a tenth of the desire level, that pleasure level. Will is, it's just the outside of it. The inner part of will is because I want to get pleasure out of it. Thus, chayfetz corresponds to holy myriads, or 5 digits, tens of thousands. Now, I'm going to pass my book around because this one has a chart. And just to help visualize it,
Can I take a picture
Sure.
of it so I can pass it
But
on?
that
you
book
can
is
pass it
no
to me,
longer available anywhere.
really, The Art of Giving, it just came out.
Did you go on Amazon?
Went on Amazon, I went to Keyhoe.
No.
Keyhoe will then publish this again. This is a recent book.
But then I can.
The date on this book, 2014. I bought it.
Yeah, I was
I bought it as soon as
Printed.
I bought it as soon as it came out.
What was the title?
I'm going to ask Rabbi Solish.
The Art of Giving,
I'm going to ask Rabbi Solish, whose name is,
yes.
whose introduction. He made the introduction here. He lives in Chabad in town. I'm going to ask him what the heck is going on with his book.
I missed the, where is it?
Probably everybody's grabbing it up.
I missed the
It
title.
could be when these books come out, people tend to buy them. They're very well. It's a good book. It's a book of study. It's not just a reading book. This is a real study book.
Okay.
Okay, now we can look at it.
It's really good that the fan is on over there. I think they need some cooling down out there on the porch.
The kids,
Oh,
the ants.
When I go out of town, I come back and weird things
Everything's
are happening
on.
in this house. Yeah. Lights are left on. Heat is. I mean, this stuff is just. It's as if let's warm up the world from our house. Light up the world. So, again, these 5 levels that he's been talking about, and connects it to the Chaya Sarah, the life of Sarah. Life of Sarah introduces us to the basic elements, where there are singles and doubles and triples. Single, doubles, and triples in the digits. And then he goes to the deeper levels. That's in a general person, but in the deeper levels, there's the will and then there's the desire, the pleasure. And those correspond to 5 different levels within us ourselves. This is not just spiritual levels. The first level, the lowest level, the single digits, is our action. Represents action. Every action we take is singular. You try to do 2 things at once, you end up doing nothing. You end up doing, you grab onto too much, you end up losing all of it. So if a person wants to accomplish something, one has to do something, and each thing has to be focused and concentrated on one at a time in order to get it done properly. Those who can do 2 things, multitask, are very, very unusual. This is not a normal person. The second level is what we have is so that's action. The second level we have is emotions, characteristics. We have feelings. Feelings and are deeper within us. This is not action. This is already how we behave, not what we do, but how we feel and how we think, how we are moved by something. And that already is more of a double because it affects us. And action is something that we do outside of us. Here it's inside. The feeling is within us. Then the third level is intellect. Intellect already is much deeper than a feeling because the intellect is the deepest element within the conscious person. And so intellect really should, hopefully does, control human beings. Because we're not animals that just follow our feelings. We have to use our intellect. We have to use our seichel, as a grandmother once said. Use your mind. Yeah. And then the fourth element that's where we come to desire, or I'm sorry, where will, which is a power, and it just got to get things done. It's got to break through whatever it is because I have the will to do it. And finally, you get to the pleasure. The pleasure level is the deepest level. It's the most inner personal level. Even someone who you may love with all your heart, who may give you all pleasure, may enjoy something differently. Some people enjoy the cold, and some people enjoy the high heat. You have Edna Sarah comes over here. Oh, she's sitting with a thick down jacket in the winter, and it's 70 degrees in the shul. It's freezing in here, and I'm schwitzing. I'm standing there sweating, beads of sweat coming down, in the same room. And she can't wait for the summer, and I can't wait for the winter to come back.
Yep.
I'm already missing the winter almost because I can't handle the heat. There are days that I don't even walk out. When there's no school, I don't have to leave the house. I sometimes don't even walk outside for 2 or 3 days. It's just too hot. The sun is too bright. It's just not my friend. I don't like it. I don't appreciate it.
And after my own
They
heart.
want me to go to Israel to take the birthright groups, and I say, sure, January, February, when it's snowing, raining, and I'll go. I want to go to Israel when it's 90 degrees, and I'll go walk up and down. Like, you have to drink water every minute and take showers and every 3 minutes. And that doesn't do any good either, right? You're going to sweat anyway. If you're cold, put on another layer. It's all right. It's okay. You can't. What are you going to walk in that clothes? Even that won't help. You're going to sweat, whatever. So here you have 2 people in the same room, and one is having great pleasure from the air conditioner blasting in their face. I was on the plane now. The air conditioner always goes on as soon as I sit down, and loud, blowing on me. And this woman, poor lady, was sitting with 2. I gave her my blanket as well. We were covered up. It wasn't my air conditioning. I hope it wasn't.
You are
The draft.
by the terms.
Rabbi, is desire and pleasure synonymous? That's the highest level.
Desire leads to pleasure, and will leads to will.
Okay, so there's a higher level than desire. Pleasure.
No, desire leads to pleasure. They are twins that are going to the same goal.
Okay.
I desire something so I can get pleasure out of it.
Okay.
But if I will something, that's not pleasure.
Now, physical action is not even on this chart. It starts with emotion.
I know. There's different ways of looking at it. I'm just saying that corresponds to that. Oh, I see. So pleasure doesn't mean anything to someone else. And another thing, when you have a will, you can sometimes just go straight through people, just like, forget it, I'm just going. And so other people can be very impacted and affected by your will, not by pleasure. No one can enjoy what you're going to enjoy. They can watch you and they can feel happy for you, but they're not going to feel that feeling. It's so exclusive, so personal, because it's from the deepest annals of where we are. That doesn't sound like a pleasurable sound. All right, and with this we will come to an end of these ideas. And now he's going to get even deeper. Now that he's defined it, he's going to really head into a deeper, a higher world. But we'll come back for this in 2 weeks, because Pesach starts on Friday night. That's the first Seder. The second Seder is on Saturday night. Yes, every year.
Yeah.
Outside of Israel, everybody does too. And we said this in previous years, and only 1 or 2 people have taken up this dare. The first night is Peachtree City Seder. The second night is the Lou family Seder. That one will start about 10:30, and it will go on till about 3:30. We do the Seder the way the Seder is done.
He loves spending time with the rabbi and his family.
But not in the middle of the night.
Yeah, so do I. 10:30 and 8 to